placed on deferred adjudication in 2024 CR 2336 for the offense of injury to an elderly person with bodily injury on June 13, 2024 for a period of 2 years. Is that you? All right. You're going to have to make sure you keep your voice up so that I can hear and the court reporter can hear. State.
In Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Larietta Nicole Holmes, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of March and April 2025 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you please, is that true or not true? State.
State waives the remaining violation allegations.
Any objection to the waivers?
No, Your Honor.
It's your understanding by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 10 years in the prison and up to $10,000 fines? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4?
Okay, let's pause for a second. What just happened here? The defendant, Ms. Holmes, is pleading true to a probation violation. That's not just an oops. It's an admission that she didn't follow court-ordered terms. And by doing this, she's just handed the judge the power to sentence her up to 10 years in prison. Now ask yourself, would you take that risk?
You still want to plead true to violation of condition?
All right, so here's the thing. You're going to have to speak up. And you need to speak the way you speak when you're not in court before me. So, whatever agreement you think you've worked out with the state, I don't have to follow that agreement because this is a contract and it's a contract with the court. It's not a contract with the state. It's not a contract with the defense. So you pled true to violation of condition number 4. Regardless of what agreement you think you've reached with the state, I can revoke you and sentence you to 10 years in prison. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Knowing that, do you still wish to proceed with this plea of true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there a proposed agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, to deny the motion, continue on regular supervision and amend for the following conditions. Immediate placement of GPS monitor for 6 months. Proof of residence or proof of employment with every OV. Don't know what OV stands for. If no proof of employment, then proof of disability. If not on disability, 4 job searches per week, as well as minimum of 12 community service hours performed monthly. Immediate enrollment in anger management course, IVR call inline for 4 months, bi-weekly reporting for 4 months.
All right. So here's my question. You want to raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Larietta Holmes.
What have you done since you've been on probation?
Since I've been on probation, I did try to finish my classes.
So you didn't finish your classes. You tried to. All right.
For community service, because last time I was here, my lawyer asked if I could I was getting my BA, and he asked if I could use that for community service.
And why didn't you finish that?
A lot in between the time happened, so I did have to drop.
What has happened?
Lights were turned off in November, and it was hard for me to try to get any type of assistance for it because it was overdue and they just turned it off. So in between time, I was trying to find assistance, I was trying to find work, and also trying to maintain my home and keep up with everything that I could, and also raising my 2 children. So where
are your children now? Who's raising them?
My son, he's with his girlfriend, and my daughter, she's with my sister. She works, my son works. Both of them work, they're both of them in school, and they both get good grades.
Okay. So here's the thing with lights being turned off. Back in the day, people didn't have lights. You turn on a candle. And people always assume that where people are in their station in life is always where they've been. Like they never had financial problems or things haven't. I've had my lights turned off before. And you know what? My mom and my grandmother would always say, hey, whatever you do, make sure that you have if you're living in an apartment, make sure that's paid. If you're living in a house, make sure that paid. If the lights get turned off, if the water gets turned off, at least you'll always have a place to stay.
This is one of those rare moments where a judge gets real. She strips the robe off metaphorically and says, "Hey, I've been there too." It's humanizing, but it's also a warning. Just because life gets hard doesn't mean the court is going to give you a pass. Ms. Holmes is being reminded that the system expects communication and accountability, not just excuses.
So getting your lights turned off, and sometimes people like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. It's like, I still have a place to stay. Getting lights turned off happens to everybody. I guarantee you, a majority of the people in this courtroom, attorneys included, deputies included, court reporter included, have at some point had some utility turned off. One time it happened to me, and it's just because I forgot to pay the bill. And I'm like, hey, why is my water not on? And they said, Stephanie, Sauce came out and turned it off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to pay my bill. And they came out and turned it back on, of course. But that's nothing to be embarrassed about. So, and the reason why I'm telling you this story is because you have to reach out to probation and tell them what's going on in your life. Otherwise, you could go to prison for 10 years. Yes. And then who's going to be taking care of your children? Mm-hmm. Now, what's happening with the new number one in this case?
Judge, I can elaborate on that. That is an allegation based on a voicemail that was left with the landlord. I received a copy of the police report. The landlord sent a copy to the court, and that was forwarded to me by Norma. They took a police report based on a voicemail. And last time I looked, a voicemail doesn't arise to a Class C threat.
What?
So anyway, that'll have to be sorted out. I think that's obviously one of the reasons why we're not going on that today. But
all right. So what's happening with this number one?
That's a municipal court problem.
Okay.
So.
All right. Probation. What is your recommendation?
Judge, the court summary, according to the sentence summary, is exactly what Mr. Edelman states.
All right. So why were you not reporting? That's the easiest thing, to pick up the phone.
I was communicating with my probation officer. I was
not in March and April.
I was in March and April. I did. I even got kind of scared because he wasn't responding back to me. He never did tell me to come in. Everything that I was going through, far as dealing with the landlord and also dealing with housing, and my life still been not connected. I was communicating with him.
So has she been communicating?
Judge, I can check the notes.
All right.
That's one thing we discussed, Judge, is that communication, however the communication is not a substitute for reporting. Mm-hmm. And I think Clarice understands it.
And my lawyer did make a good recommendation. He's when, communicating, texting, sometimes it's best for me to go down there. And I didn't know that. To set up an appointment, go down there so I could be seen, and that way it wouldn't be no miscommunications.
Judge, lots of office visit is a system indicates February 28th, 2025. There was a text message sent out with an appointment scheduled in March. I don't see anything indicating there was a phone call between the officer and the same for April Judge. There were also system text messages reminding Ms. Holmes, you need to pay your fees. There's some batch emails that went out for services that
all right. This is her first motion to revoke. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to tell you right now. Number one, when your utilities are disconnected, that's nobody's fault but your own. If my utilities get disconnected because I forgot to pay, that's not their fault. It's not the utility company, it's my fault. Your emergency is not somebody else's priority unless they want to make it their priority. And when you have a landlord and part of your contract with your landlord is you pay rent and you pay utilities. When utilities get cut off, that means that you didn't pay them, or maybe the utility company made a mistake. If the utility company made a mistake.
Now, this is the turning point. The judge isn't just talking punishments. He's talking behavioral reform. Ms. Holmes is on deferred adjudication for injuring an elderly person, and the judge is drawing a direct line between her anger, her choices, and her future. This isn't just courtroom drama, it's a wake-up call. How you react when things go wrong? That can be the difference between freedom and 10 years behind bars.
Then they will come out and correct it. Now with CPS Energy, if they do that, they can turn it on immediately because they've switched out everybody's meter where they can operate it from in office. But when your utilities are cut off, one thing you do not do is on your own try to cut them back on or tamper with meters or anything of that nature. Do you understand?
I would never do that. I don't want to.
No. Okay, here's the thing. Don't say that because that's what's in the police reports and everything. And the other thing is, it is clear from the court, based upon what you're on probation for, that you do have an anger issue. And it appears from the court that you don't know how to address your angers when things don't go your way other than lashing out at other people. That is going to stop. Otherwise, you're looking at 10 years in prison. Then the 10 years in prison, you can try and lash your anger out at other inmates. And you know what's going to end up happening? Somebody at the prison, somebody at the jail is going to be badder than you. And they're going to unleash anger on you. So if you don't want that to happen, then you had better change your ways. And this bullying thing that maybe you're doing with people that are older than you because you're on deferred adjudication for injury to the elderly, that's going to stop. And your landlord says that they're 57 and they have a disability and they're having to deal with you. So if you were living at that property, you don't have to worry about not having lights at that property because the court is no longer going to allow you to live at that property and you're no longer going to be allowed to have contact with her. If you have contact with her, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
See, and I don't know why you're giving me that attitude now. You know what you did to Miss Holmes. That breathing hard. No, that breathing hard thing. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's not going to be tolerated here. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
It's time for you to start showing respect to people, whether you think they're worthy of it or not, because you're landlord. Whether you think they're worthy of it or not, you need to show respect to them because you're living on their property in their house and they can take that away. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And you need to start behaving differently so that your children will know the proper way to communicate and it's not through violence. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're going to start completing the conditions of your probation immediately. And when you are released, if you don't start enrolling in these programs and completing them, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The court will deny the motion. Alternate amend conditions to the following. Need to get items, you'll need to have someone other than yourself go over there and go with the police escort to retrieve your items. You are not allowed to call her or have third parties call her or have third parties contact her other than that one time when that person goes to the location, if you have items there and they need to go there with the police escort. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to start your anger management classes and probation. What is the earliest she can start anger management?
Give her 30 days.
All right. Anger management class are to begin within 30 days. Do you have a disability?
No, ma'am.
All right. She doesn't have a disability, so there needs to be there's no proof of disability needed. You're going to need to get a job. That's how people make it in this world. Nobody's depending on somebody else to pay their bills. You're going to get a job. And if you need to get 2 jobs to make a full-time job, then that's what you're going to need to do. So I'm going to require a full-time job. And for the court, full-time employment means at least 40 hours a week. If you want to get 2 part-time jobs, 20 hours each, that's fine. But you're going to work. And there are plenty of places for you to find employment. But sometimes people think certain employment is beneath them. No employment is beneath you because We all need doctors. We all need people who are going to pick the fruit. We all need people who are going to work at HEB or work the fries at McDonald's. There's no shame in that. It's a legitimate job. So proof of full-time employment within 45 days. And GPS, probation, do you want GPS?
Yes, sir.
All right, there's to be GPS, waive fees. Do you want full-time GPS tracking? What do you want?
Partial GPS for now.
All right, partial GPS for employment. And GPS is until further notice. And do you still want this IVR hotline?
Is this something that could send me to prison for 10 years? It's not just a rhetorical question, it's the judge's rule for survival. Holmes makes from here on out will be under a microscope. If you're on probation or deferred adjudication, guess what? That advice applies to you too. Every misstep could be your last chance.
That's part summary indicates she helped submit four UAs.
Why are you not going in for your UAs?
To my knowledge, I only felt one that was in.
Why are you missing one? Because when you miss one, you could go to prison for 10 years.
I think the day that I missed that was when I went to the office to see him. And by the time it was time for me to leave to get in my Uber, they were going to be closed. And I think it fell on a weekend.
All right, probation, do you still want the IVR hotline?
Monthly UAs, but
All right, monthly UAs. You're not to miss a single UA. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Probation, is there anything else?
do the bi-weekly reporting for 4 months, Judge.
All right, bi-weekly reporting for 4 months.
No, sir.
Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
I'm out.
All right, you better do better. Otherwise, you're looking at going to prison for potentially 10 years. From here on out, we can go off the record. From here on out, anything that you do, you need to ask yourself before you do it, is this something that could result in me potentially going to prison for 10 years? If the answer is yes, don't do it unless you want to potentially go to prison for 10 years. If your answer is, well, maybe it could, don't do it because you could potentially go to prison for 10 years. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. Thank you,
Thank you.
counsel.
Results. Insurance company. Yeah.